Let me take you back to the much simpler days of old, the 1980s, where a little baby Mustache was going through a VHS rental store and he saw a cover to a movie that really sparked his interest. It had a giant talking duck on that cover, as well as the words George Lucas and Marvel Comics. The movie was not very good. However, I do remember getting one of my first erections thanks to the lovely Leah Thompson. The character in question, that specific duck, Howard the Duck, became one of my favorites. I loved the old Steve Gerber comics. I devoured those back issues. And thanks to the success of last summer's Guardians of the Galaxy and director James Gunn's last-minute decision to include Howard the Duck in the post-credits sequence, we got Howard the Duck #1. Marvel Comics' attempt to capitalize on the very bizarre character's spark of popularity thanks to that movie. The writing duties were given to an artist who's on a book called Sex Criminals that's disgusting and dirty and hilarious and amazing that I really love, but not many people know him as a writer. Today we're going to take a look at Howard the Duck. I'm going to tell you all about it. And who am I to tell you about such a weird thing? I am the goddamn comic book mustache.
Mustachio bandito. The comic book mustache. Mustaches are sexy, and so are comics. Don't you want to be sexy too? The comic book mustache. Till next time, adios, muchachos.
Hola, senors and senoritas, all my mustache alcoholics out there. I am that Mustachio Bandito, the self-declared comic book mustache, here today to talk about, it's upside down, Howard the Duck #1 from writer and very good artist Chip Zdarsky, and he's not drawing it, Joe Quinos is. Howard the Duck has always been a very strange and weird character. Love him or hate him, he is definitely something that has periodically popped up throughout pop culture history. He's had his highs, he's had his lows, and Marvel Comics is capitalizing on one of his highs. He is a character that's very much not of this time. He is grumpy, he is mean, he is misogynistic, he makes really cheesy puns, and he's a gigantic talking duck who wears a big, frumpy old man coat. As I said, this is a very strange character, and the story was no exception. Howard the Duck is a talking duck from another dimension that's filled with ducks. He is one of a kind, though, here on Earth in the Marvel Universe, of course, and he has set up his own private eye, private dick, or private duck detective agency where he is hired to find a family heirloom that was stolen from someone by the Black Cat. He gets help from a female companion, a cool tattoo artist, and in their adventures, they encounter Black Cat as well as get chased around by kind of interdimensional bodyguard, bounty hunter, hired by the Collector, seen in this summer's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy film. So the Collector is out for some duck hunting. He's the Elmer Fudd of the galaxy. Let's get right into the writing of this book. As I mentioned before, Chip Zdarsky, the author of Howard the Duck #1, is mostly known as an artist. He draws an Image comic series that I've talked about a lot on the channel, sex criminals. It is wonderful. It's written by the always amazing recently Matt Fraction, and it is very fun. We know Chip Zdarsky is a funny guy, and it came through in his writing for Howard the Duck. It was a very funny book. It was filled with a ton of comedy bits. One thing is, humor is very subjective. I happen to really enjoy the comedy elements of this book. At one point, there was a 80s style montage workout scene when they were getting ready to encounter the black cat. I thought it was very funny. You may not, though. Humor is subjective, but I thought it was good stuff. The dialogue was witty and fun and snappy, and Zdarsky kept a very excellent pace throughout the whole issue, balancing this comedy with some humor and some actual pretty sincere, I don't want to say human moments because it's a duck, but some pretty human moments there. And adding the female Earth Girl companion, good idea. It helped humanize Howard for me, even though he's a giant talking duck. We kind of can relate a little bit more to him when we see him with someone very average who is not a superhero that's part of our world. And although this is a Marvel Comics property, you don't have to be very familiar with Marvel Comics or give two rats' asses. My wife doesn't really read superhero comic books, but she was very interested when I told her that there was a new Howard the Duck series, and I got her a copy. If I got my wife to read this book, I'm sure you can get your wife to read this book, as long as she has a good sense of humor and isn't a stuck-up bitch. But let's take a look at some of the stunning artwork that matched Chip Zdarsky's writing here. Joe Quinos' art was very bold and clean, and it was cute but gritty almost at the same time, matching Howard the Duck's duality so well. He is a grumpy Gus, he is a total jerk, not very friendly, but he's also a giant adorable talking duck. It's hard to not love seeing something that fucking weird and silly and stupid. So the artwork fit the story perfectly. There was a big chase scene also in this issue, and the action was done really well. It helped out with the pace a lot. Zdarsky kept a great pace with the dialogue and the writing and the script, and the art definitely matched it. It was the perfect fit for a Howard the Duck comic book. Fun, clean, pretty, silly, cartoony, but we're talking about a book with a giant fucking interdimensional talking duck. I enjoyed the different looks as well compared to many superhero books. Yes, this is a Marvel Comics property, but these superheroes weren't hypersexualized, overly muscular, really almost realistic, even though it's totally cartoony. But it was very nice to see something that wasn't just gigantic muscly guys. I'm so happy. Things don't look like they did in the early 90s. So considering how much I loved the script to this issue, which again, humor is very subjective, so you may not enjoy it as much as I did. It's very much based on the comedy. If it hits you, then it works. If it doesn't hit you, it may not work. And how much I really enjoyed the artwork in this issue, because it was fun, it was clean, and it was a perfect fit. It really was a very well put together comic. Bravo, Marvel, because I am going to give Howard the Duck #1 4 sombreros. If you want to check out comic books like Howard the Duck #1, go to comicshoplocator.com, type your zip code in, and find a comic shop nearest to you, or download your comics digitally. I use the Comixology app. It's pretty much available on every platform. Maybe even check out your local library. It's a great way to get free comics. And remember, knowledge is power. Maybe they have the Howard the Duck movie that I was talking about. It's horrible, but Leah Thompson is a babe. Thank you as always for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and some words of advice for your health. A mustache a day will keep the doctor away. Adios, brochachos. See you on the other side.
The comic book mustache.
Mustaches are sexy.